hit subscribe. Subscribe to my guy, Uncle D. Tell him Big Bad sent you.
Dennis Spurling. I'm an attorney here in Houston, Texas. An advocate for black men, largely because I am a black man. I'm a black father. I have black sons. Hey, man, I do what I do.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the broadcast. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. This is Dennis Spurling. I'd like to acknowledge all of the beautiful people. I thank you all for your time here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I have an opportunity to first acknowledge all of the wrench mob, all my people who are here, who have a wrench. Big shout out to you. Big shout out to all the members in the chat room. Thank you guys so much for your years of patronage. I so appreciate the time that you spent hanging out with me. And as I always said, you know, I hope you learned something. And, you know, that's pretty much how I want to spend my time. And I'm always measured with the things that I say, okay? Because I realize that, you know, my words are important. I realize that you all depend on me for information and an accurate assessment, a more, I would say, thoughtful assessment. I'm not just out here spewing off and saying random things. Reason being is because as a black man, as a foundational black American man who can trace my roots a long way back through Mississippi and some other states, I want to make sure that the information that I give accurately represents our people, you know, so I'm always measured. Now, some of you know, some of you all don't know, but I'm a dad. I have 3 boys. My boys are 9, 15, and 18. And I'm a very active father. Some of you guys have seen me on the internet, right? Today, my 2 oldest boys tested for their 2nd degree black belt in Shotokan karate. They have been at this for 11 years now, at least in this particular deal. That is their sensei Darren Cherry. He's an old school brother, almost 70 years old, originally from Harlem, New York. And he's been training with my children since they were knee high to a duck. The oldest is 18. He's the one in the forefront, and the one behind is Roman, also known as the Crimson Sun. And this is them performing what is called a kata, which is a Japanese word for pattern. And by doing these katas, you basically teach your muscles, or you train your muscles, you give your muscles what are called muscle memory. Okay, the muscle memory as to how to throw punches, how to block, how to throw, how to block and strike, sweeps, kicks. You see, this is what you see them doing. A lot of people who don't actually study martial arts think, oh, those katas are a waste of time. But if you do that 1,000 times, or 10,000 times, as they say, you will have mastered those body movements. And so this is the importance. And it takes years and years of practice to master it. And it takes dedicated fathers and dedicated men in their lives to make sure that they're fully trained. So big shout out to my boys. Shout out to them. Thank you so much. And I think it's important that as men, we take the forefront in raising our sons. I take my job as father to be my most important job. It's the most important role that I have, because at the end of the day, the titles don't matter, the money doesn't matter, and unless you do a good job at raising your children, nothing else really matters. That's the opinion that I have, and it's shared by a lot of people, because your legacy is your children. And I would never put this burden on a woman, whether she be my mother, grandmother, wife, girlfriend, child's mother, whatever. This is my job. It's my obligation. And I think there are many Black men out there, many men in general, who feel the same way. Now, that being said, I want to first welcome everybody again to the broadcast. And as I said earlier, my name is Dennis Spurling, and I want to go ahead and get this show started. Now, the first thing, where all the Africans at? All the Africans. I want you all to go ahead. I want you all to go ahead and step to the front. Don't be shy. Come on in. I need all the Ghanaians and the Nigerians and the Kenyans and the Senegalese and the Eritreans and the Ethiopians, especially the Kenyans. I want all the Kenyans to come to the front, okay? Yes, even you bougie South Africans, I want you to step right on up. This one's for you. You all remember back 2008, 2012, even all the way up through 2016. You guys remember when, hell, up to last week, maybe a couple of, last month, when we foundational Black Americans tried to celebrate Barack Obama as the first Black president. Remember that? You all made it your mission to correct us. You jumped in the comments, you hopped on stages, you wrote articles, and you said, no, he's not your president. He's not the first Black president. He is African. You all remember that? You said he was Kenyan. He's one of us. Remember that? Remember you all said that? Y'all didn't let us claim him. And you were loud and proud about it too. You were loud. Beaming with African smugness. He's not ADOS. He's not FBA. He is African. Right? Didn't y'all say that? Well, guess what? You're right. Shout out to all that. You all were right. Barack Hussein Obama Jr. is the first African president of the United States. He ain't ours. Okay, all my FBA people, somebody type delineate in the chat room. We're gonna go back. This delineate. Okay, he's not ours. Okay, he's the son of a Kenyan economist and a white woman from Kansas. He wasn't raised in Detroit or Baltimore or Atlanta or Houston. He was raised in Hawaii and Indonesia by his Indonesian dad and his white mom after his African dad divorced her, right? He was surrounded by palm trees and privilege and white liberal handlers. His worldview, his personality, his values, they're all the product of his African culture. Praise God. You understand me? And so go ahead, and I want all the Africans, go ahead and take a bow. This is your win. You own this. Okay? Now don't start acting brand new. Don't get quiet on us now. Just because that shine is off this apple. Okay? Claim your man. All right. What did they say? Whose man is it? Claim your man. The same way y'all claim him when he was shiny and smiling and swag walking across the White House lawn. We're delineating now. Okay, remember. So we want to make sure you properly collect all of your African leaders, your heroes, your global dignitaries, and that includes this one right here. You got Barack Obama, right? We'll take Malcolm, we'll take Martin Luther King, those are ours. We'll take Thurgood Marshall, those are ours. But Barack Obama, America's first African president. That's your guy. That's claiming. Okay. Now that we got that out the way, in a recent interview podcast, Okay, I want you all to brace yourselves because this gets real ugly. The first African president, Barack Obama, decided once again to open his mouth and tell foundational Black Americans how we should raise our sons. And trust me, what came out of his mouth proves exactly why we should have never claimed him in the first place. I want you all to sit back and take a listen to what this zesty, this handsome gentleman has to say. Everybody kick back. Here you go. Let's listen.
I think a lot of times boys need.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that I think a lot of times boys need is not just exposure to one guy.
Fair use.
One dad.
One dad.
Y'all hear him? You hear what he's saying? Not just exposure to one. I want y'all to hear what the gentleman is saying. Keep listening. Fair use, fair use, fair use. Matter of fact, let me play my music. I don't want Michelle Obama or any of those people over there to try to, demonetize my little channel. Okay, because I'm just letting it play. Fair use. Okay. Don't be mad at me. Let's go ahead and let this play loud and proud. All right, y'all gonna hear it. Y'all gonna hear it. Listen. Got the little mood music.
No matter how good the dad is.
He can't be everything.
He can't be everything. And then that boy may need somebody to give the boy some perspective on the dad.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
One of the most valuable things I learned as a guy was I had a gay professor.
You heard the gentleman said he had a gay professor. Okay, that's what the gentleman said. The gentleman to the left said he had a gay professor. Let's listen.
In college.
In college, okay.
At a time when openly gay folks still weren't out of line. Who became one of my favorite professors and was a great guy and would call me out when I started saying stuff that was ignorant. You need that to show empathy and kindness. And by the way, you need that person in your friend group so that if you then have a boy who's gay or non-binary or what have you, they have somebody that they can go, okay, I'm not alone in this.
Okay.
And that's one of
Did y'all hear what the gentleman to the left said? The gentleman said, okay, and I want to make sure we get this right. Okay, the gentleman said that what boys need is diversity. Okay, and included in that diversity, they should have a gay mentor. That's what the man said. The man said they need a gay mentor like he had in college. And he said that we as fathers should also have a gay friend in our friend group just in case. Just in case one of our children or sons turns out to be gay or binary or non-binary. That's what he said. That's the brilliant wisdom of our first African president. This was advice. Now, who was he talking to? That's the question we have to ask. Who was it? Because I know it's Michelle Obama. She's black, and her brother, he's black, and of course, our first president, who's of African descent, he is black also, even though he's partially white. So who do you think the target audience was in this particular broadcast? Who do you think was that? I don't think he was talking to Jeff, Braden, and Brad. Was he talking to Brad and Jeff out there on the farm? No, I don't think so. I think he was talking to black people, black America, black men in specific, who we seem to be his favorite target. Now, here's the thing. The interview was entitled Fatherhood, Masculinity, and Mentorship. Fatherhood, Masculinity, and Mentorship. And of course, the first African president of America, Barack Obama, made that bold statement that in order to grow kind, and this is the rest of it, in order to grow kind and compassionate men, young boys, particularly black boys, because that's what I'm thinking, they need the influence of a gay male mentor. That's what he said. Okay. And sitting there with his legs crossed, with his little arms folded, praise God. Okay. He argued that these men, like his professor, are nurturing in ways that straight men supposedly aren't. That's what he said, and suggested that empathy and emotional connection and kindness are qualities more readily found in gay men than heterosexual men. That's what he said. Okay, that's what your first African. What are Africans at? Wait, come look. I want y'all to jump in the chat room and let me know, that this is your culture, right? We need to, because he's the African president. All right, now let's be clear about what's being said here. Obama didn't merely highlight the value of diverse mentorship. He implied that straight fathers, and I'm absolutely sure he means straight black fathers, uncles, coaches, pastors, male figures, the very bedrock of traditional black male development, are somehow, some kind of way, emotionally deficient. Okay? That they are incapable of raising loving, empathetic sons without outside correction from men who do not reflect their identity or orientation. And this assertion didn't come from a sociologist. I don't think he has a degree in sociology, or he, I don't even think he's a pop culture figure. It came from a man once heralded as the first black president of the United States, but we all know he's the first African president. So we got somebody type first African president in the chat room. And by the way, I need you all to make sure you put the ICE phone number in the chat room. Put the ICE phone number in the chat room. And if you need a job, America needs you, okay? Put that ICE phone number. Nevertheless, many believe, you see, when we voted for him, well, we thought he was going to be the voice of Black America. You see, we thought he was going to be the voice of foundational Black Americans on the world stage. But now, instead of empowering our community to reclaim our sons from a system designed to destroy them, Obama has chosen to lecture us from a place of detachment and psychologically and culturally and experimentally, because he does not have any boy children. Okay, and so it's an experiment for him. And to me, like many of you all, I think we think this is disappointing and borderline it's dangerous, I think. Because when a man who is never raised by a Black father, who never raised Black sons, who never raised any sons, uses his platform to redefine what masculinity is, and by implication, Black masculinity, right? He's not mentoring, he's meddling. And worse, he's reinforcing the very stereotypes and ideological manipulations that continue to fracture our families and effeminize our young men. And in this moment, it demands a reckoning, not just with Obama, but with who he is, where he came from, and what qualifies someone to speak on the lives or the lived realities of raising Black boys here in America. See, his comments aren't rooted in cultural knowledge. They're rooted in academic abstraction and political correctness. And we, as foundational Black Americans, have the right to push back. Because, see, our sons don't need to be corrected. They need to be protected. And we won't allow even the most polished political figure and with his little flip-flops on and this little tailored shirt, we're not going to allow him to suggest to us otherwise. Again, our first African president, Barack Obama, respectfully, he is in no position morally or culturally to tell Black people how to raise our Black boys. The hard truth is this: he was not raised by a Black man, nor did he raise a Black man of his own in the form of his sons. He lacks the lived experience on both ends of the spectrum. His biological father, Barack Obama Sr., okay, was a man from Kenya who returned to Africa when Barack Obama was 2 years old. And so aside from a brief visit when Obama was 10, his daddy played no active role in his upbringing. And this matters because fatherhood isn't just about genetics, it's about presence, it's about discipline, it's about identity, it's about transmission of values. Obama Jr., of course, okay, he's raised entirely outside the context of both Black America and African male mentorship. He grew up in Hawaii and he spent his formative years in Indonesia under the care of a white American mother and white maternal grandparents. He attended private schools. He lived amongst military families and foreign diplomats, and he was immersed in the polite liberalism of a multicultural paradise, not the day-to-day realities of anti-Black policing in Compton and poverty in Detroit, or racial profiling in Atlanta that defines so much of the foundational Black American male experience. He didn't grow up with the Black barbershop, the Black church, the corner store, or as they say, the corner store, or the civil rights legacy passed down through community struggle. He grew up in an island bubble, literally and figuratively. And this upbringing insulated him from his African father's revolutionary roots and also from the anti-colonial worldview that inspired many post-independent African thinkers. He inherited neither the militant Pan-African fire of Kwame Nkrumah, nor the grassroots, streetwise cultural capital of a Malcolm El-Hajj El-Shabazz. Instead, our former president emerged from an environment steeped in global cosmopolitanism and professional achievement and political moderation, ideal traits for appealing to white liberals and elite power structures, but hardly the stuff of cultural alignment with the working class Black American. And so, when our first African president stands on a platform, whether presidential or podcast, and begins offering prescriptions on how Black fathers should raise Black sons, it lands flat. Worse than flat, it comes off as condescension. How can a man who never sat across from his Black father, who never had to navigate the terrain of fathering a Black boy through the minefield of American racism, presume to know what our sons need? Especially when he suggests that they need gay mentors to learn empathy, as though straight Black men are inherently emotionally broken. That's not just detached, it's insulting. Obama's worldview is shaped by symbolic diversity and Ivy League validation and post-racial optimism. This is fundamentally disconnected from the cultural trenches that foundational Black American families occupy. See, he speaks not as a man forged in the fire of Black American masculinity, something that we've had to fight for since the buck breaking days. Okay, but he speaks as a culturally curated figure of representational politics. That's what he is. He represents Blackness, but he does not reflect Blackness, and not in the lived sense that matters. And most when we talk about raising boys into men, that's when it's very necessary. If anything, Barack Obama is a cautionary tale about the dangers of mistaken appearance for authenticity and symbolism for solidarity. And as Black Americans reckon with the challenges of reasserting control of our identity, our families, and our future, we have to be bold enough to say what needs to be said. Barack Obama doesn't get to tell us how to raise our sons, because he wasn't raised like one of us, and he didn't raise one of us either. And with the latest comment, he disrespected the entire Black community, including women who raise us. and the fathers who stayed and the sons we're trying to raise right now. See, this is not 2008. The shine has worn off. The black community no longer looks at Barack Obama as Black Jesus. He's not our savior. He was once thought to be. He could do no wrong. In fact, the overwhelming sentiment is that he needs, amongst us right now, is that he needs to go somewhere and have a seat. In fact, I would argue that he needs to go somewhere and have a whole stadium full of seats. He needs to take the opportunity and find a stadium near him and spend a few weeks sitting in each and every one of the seats that are available for him to sit in the empty stadium. That's how many seats he needs to have. And he needs to do it quietly. Just like George W. Bush, GW, he shows up at inaugurations and sit in the back at the presidential funerals. He waves politely, and that's it. And he goes back to Crawford, Texas. Shout out to Lou Harper. Because at this point, Barack Obama has become more of a liability than a legacy. What he fails to realize, what he refuses to acknowledge, probably because of his arrogance, is how irrelevant he has become to the everyday struggles and the real concerns of foundational Black Americans. The same community that turned out in record numbers to elect our first African president is now looking around and asking, why or what did we really get? He's no longer seen as a voice for us. He's a brand ambassador for elite liberal agendas. He's not a spokesperson for grassroots and the Black experience. So Mr. Obama, Mr. President, Mr. Sir, respectfully, we don't need another lecture from you about what kind of men our sons should be around. We don't need your soft shoe diplomacy, your post-presidency book tours, or your Hollywood podcast sound bites. What we need from you is silence. You understand me? Shout out to Good Luck, Jay. We need you to be quiet. What we need is a space to heal and rebuild without interference from someone who talks down to us while pretending to speak for us. Shout out to Blue Baggers. You understand, sir? And if he can't respect that, then the community will continue doing what it's already doing, and that's moving on without him. Look, and this moment, this betrayal is exactly why delineation matters. See, this isn't just about Barack Obama. It's about a pattern. It's about Kamala Harris. It's about the growing roster of Caribbean and African politicians flooding the Congressional Black Caucus, speaking on behalf of people in a struggle they were never part of, and in many cases looked down upon. And these are not foundational Black Americans. These are not the descendants of slavery or Jim Crow or redlining or the Black church and the freedom struggle. They don't come from South Central Los Angeles. They don't come from Harlem. They don't come from Fifth Ward, Houston, Texas. They don't share our culture. They don't share our pain. They don't share our values. And in fact, too often they arrive with the same prejudices white America has about us already baked in. That we're lazy, that we're undisciplined, that we're emotionally damaged, that we're violent, and that we need someone else, anyone else, to save us from ourselves. See, Barack Obama's aloof, detached, professional tone didn't come out of nowhere. That's the product of an elite African upbringing and white liberal socialization, not a Southside Chicago barbershop or a Baptist sermon on Sunday morning in Alabama. And when he looks at the Black community, he does not see his people. He sees a project. He sees something to correct and reform, not something to respect, protect, and uplift. This is why it's critical that foundational Black Americans draw a clear line around who speaks for us and who doesn't, because this isn't just about misrepresentation anymore. It's about erasure. We're being spoken over. We're being spoken for and spoken down to by people who are allowed into this country because the political and civil rights struggle we fought for. And yet, now, they stand on the shoulders of us while kicking us in our teeth. They come here from dysfunctional, impoverished nations they never dare return to, yet they call us broken. They climb our ladders, enter our institutions. They inherit the fruit of our protests and then turn right around and tell us we're not good enough, that we need to be more like them, that our fathers aren't sufficient, that our boys need gay men for emotional development, that our culture is the problem. All this is colonization and blackface, family. So yes, before we go any further, let's be honest with ourselves. I want y'all to hear me. Let's be honest with ourselves. If you can hear me clearly, hit the like button. Hit the like button if you can hear me clearly. Because I want all my foundational Black Americans to step to the front. We need to be honest with each other. Okay? We voted for this man. We did. We did this. We chose symbolism over substance. This is our fault because we chose skin tone over shared experience. We saw a brown face, we saw a clean suit and a perfect family photo, and we projected our hopes onto him. We told ourselves that finally, one of our own has made it. But what we never stopped to ask was, whose son is this really? See, we didn't elect a man forged in the fires of the Black American experience. We didn't choose someone born in the traditions and traumas and triumphs of the descendants of American slavery. We elected the son of a Kenyan economist and a white woman from Kansas. We elected someone whose roots were not in Mississippi or Alabama, but in Nairobi and Wichita. A man raised in Hawaii and Indonesia, a man whose life trajectory and worldview had nothing to do with ours, and yet we crowned him our crown Black Prince, our representative. And now the bill has come due. And here we are again. Barack Obama, from his insulated perch of post-presidential celebrity, telling Black families how we need to raise our sons. Telling us that in not so many words that Black fatherhood is insufficient. Because again, make no mistake, he's talking to Black fathers. Because we know white men are not listening to him. The man sat up there on a podcast and said, our Black boys need gay men to give them perspective on their fathers. And no matter how present or how loving or how devoted we are, we're not enough. And the irony is this, he says this while having no sons of his own, no direct experience raising a Black boy in America, no skin in the game. And he didn't say this in front of an all-white audience, did he? He said it in Michelle Obama's broadcast, a space heavily followed by Black women, because he knows they still see her as royalty, as the eternal chocolate queen, and they hang on his every word. And it is precisely that trust, that lingering emotional connection from 2008 that he exploits when he makes statements like that. So this is where we take ownership. We let this happen. We mistook the color of his skin for the content of his character, and his character never aligned with ours. So not culturally, not spiritually, not historically, and certainly not politically. Shout out to Derek Sessions. We ignored the warning signs. We ignored the fact that he was He was never one of us. And now we're living with the consequences. A man who speaks out of turn on behalf of our people while consistently misunderstanding and misrepresenting and diminishing us. But no more. And this is not about disrespect. It's about discernment. From now on, we must vet, okay? Not just the resume, not just the skin tone, but the soul. And more importantly, the lineage and the loyalty, because skin folk are not always kinfolk. And as we move forward, the legacy of Barack Obama will serve as both a lesson and a warning. Never again making the appearance of blackness for the experience of being black in America. Now, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and let the people tell you what they think about it. Y'all, and you know the people always have something to say about this. You all check out what the people have to say about this subject matter. Y'all hit the number 1 button if you can hear me clearly.
I think a lot of times boys need is not just exposure to one guy.
Mm-hmm. One dad.
No matter how.
Fair use. We're gonna let this beat play. Go ahead, keep listening.
How good the dad is.
He can't be everything.
He can't be everything. And that boy may need somebody to give the boy some perspective on the dad.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
One of the most valuable things I learned as a guy was I had a...
Bro, y'all mad at...
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
For telling black people about themselves or telling y'all niggas about yourselves. Y'all need to get mad at Obama, bro. Obama gave y'all niggas a whole facade, bro. That nigga fronted in y'all faces, bro. Everybody was so happy that we quote unquote had a black president. Come to find out, nigga, we had the most sus president of all time. Making our country even more sus. Liberal shit. Nigga shit. Like, they come, like, bro, the white man literally embarrassed you in your face. But you mad at what I'm saying about y'all niggas. He embarrassed y'all in your face. He was like, you know what? Let's get a gay man, but how do we cover it up? Let's get a gay black man. Put him in a suit so it won't be hot, but then later down the line, expose that he's always been fruit. Nigga said you need...
You ain't lying.
Road and fucking breadcrumbs, cause I know damn well I just didn't hear Obama say what the fuck I heard him say. Now I'm glad Mr. Obama is taking time out and spending.
Excuse the language, and we will not refer to Michelle Obama as Mr. Obama. Okay, we will not do that. We will respect our black foundational black American sister, sir. But go ahead and continue, please.
Spending time and doing the podcast together and shit, but I just know I didn't hear Mr. Obama Sr. say what he said. This man had the audacity to fucking say that he believed young men would be a lot better if they had a prideful man in their life. If you know what I mean by prideful, that's just me trying not to get community guidelines. He said a lot of these young men need a prideful man in their lives to expose them to other things that they might have not seen from a regular man. From a regular man like they daddy. So they need a prideful man in their life to show them the other side of the world. But what the fuck is Obama talking about?
Family friendly.
I'm so sick and tired of him. Your presidency is fucking over. Sit the fuck down and stop trying to be fucking relevant. We know what you like. We been knew what you like. We know about you, and we know about Mr. and Mr. Obama. We know what you like. So why is you steady trying to force that shit?
I'm gonna denounce any statements that imply anything other than what the Obamas have represented as to the status of their relationship. Okay, we don't dwell in rumors and innuendo on this broadcast, respectfully.
down the throats of our black American people. Like, what the fuck is you doing?
Family
You are
friendly.
so detrimental to the black community, and a lot of black people don't even see it.
Yes.
You started trying to force that shit down our throat,
Very.
talking about something. A lot of young men would benefit from having a relationship with a prideful man to show them the other side of the world that they missing, that they won't get from their daddy. Obama, please take 3 the fuck seats the fuck down. Sit down. I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of you and I'm tired of Mr. and Mr. Obama spewing their doctrines out to the world.
Sir, certainly you meant Mr. and Mrs. Obama. Mr. and Mrs. Obama, sir. But please.
For the world to see. I don't want to. What the fuck is you talking about?
Family friendly.
Sit the fuck down, Obama. Sit your ass down. Stop trying to be relevant. Stop trying to push that shit out into our culture. Like, goddamn, y'all don't see this shit. Y'all love Obama, boy, but look at the shit he steady doing. He for the decline of the black race. Because everything he talking about ain't increasing the black race at all. Man, if you don't sit your ass down, my sons don't need a private man in their life. They got a fucking father, a strong black man.
Thank you so much, sir. It seems as though that people are very passionate, and we want to denounce any anti orientation on this channel. Okay, we don't do that. We respect all people. Okay, we respect people, but these are what the people have to say. So YouTube, we are not in any way, okay, inciting anything negative to happen to anybody. You understand? None of that. Not up here. Don't demonetize my channel, baby. I'm trying to, not me, baby. I'm just letting the people speak, sir. YouTube, I'm letting the people speak. The people are speaking. And it's on TikTok right now. You can't ban my little channel. And I got the pink flower on today. You see what I'm saying? Look at that. I'm a peaceful person. I ain't against them people. Okay? Don't try to put me in that, man. Anyway, let's go on here and listen to the rest of the people speak. People are speaking. The people are talking. Okay? People are speaking. We're going to let the people talk. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So recently, Barack Obama was on the IMO podcast hosted by Michelle Obama and her brother. And he stated on the podcast that every young man needs a gay man in their life.
That's
he
what
doesn't believe, a straight male could raise a young man the right way. He believes the gay man is going to offer a different perspective that the straight man can't offer the young man, like empathy. Check out this clip and let me know if you agree with Barack Obama.
And that's one of the things that I think a lot of times boys need is
what he said.
Not just exposure to one guy,
one dad,
no matter how good the dad is.
Now I'm gonna just ask a question. What if you said that the daughters don't need exposure or to just one mom? They need lots of moms. So y'all should be cool with your baby daddy's new girlfriend, right? You should be cool with letting your baby daddy's new girl do her hair and cut it if she wants to, or perm it or edge it. Ladies, what if you said that, your daughters need more than just the influence of one woman? Okay, you're not good enough as a mom. She needs other moms. Okay, well, how would you ladies feel about that? Let's continue listening.
He can't be everything.
He can't be everything. And then that boy may need somebody to give the boy some perspective on the dad.
Yeah.
You telling black people in America, because you're not talking about Brett. Look, Jeff Braden Jeff and Braden and Brad are not listening to you. So we know you're talking to black people. We know you're talking to black men. You're telling us that we as black fathers need to have a gay man in our circle. So just in case we have a son who is gay or binary, that he will be able to give us perspective, or that man will be able to give us that he will be able to give our son perspective on us. That's what you're saying, sir. That's so we need 2 gay people. That's what you're saying. A spare gay person. That's what you're saying. Well, all the gay people at come to the front of the room. They saying we need a spare gay person just in case in the future. Okay. we'll say prideful. We need a prideful man, a spare prideful man, just in case in the future one of our sons becomes prideful. That's what Barack Hussein Obama, our first African president, that must be something in the African culture. That's because, see, we've delineated. He's not one of us, and Africans have told us that he's not one of us. Y'all said he was African, not Black American. So we're all the Africans that I need y'all to come and get your people. Come get your people, and let's continue. Let's continue.
Right? Yeah. One of the most valuable things I learned as a guy was I had a gay professor.
Yes.
In college.
You saw explain that to us.
At a time when openly gay folks still weren't out of line. Who became one of my favorite professors and was a great guy and would call me out when I started saying stuff that was ignorant. You need that to show empathy.
Not only do you need a prideful man in your immediate circle, but you also need a prideful man as a professor to call you out when you say something foolish. So this is at least 3 prideful people that you want Black men to have. We got to have a prideful friend just in case we have a prideful son, and then we also need a prideful professor when we get to college. So what if you didn't go to college? Maybe there's some. What if you went to like I don't know what's the name, like plumbing school? What about a prideful master plumber? Okay. To take us as an apprentice. I'm just asking. I mean, I'm here asking questions as a journalist. But you know, it seems to me the farther you dig into this foolishness, the less sense it makes to me. I'm just saying. I mean, you know, because how far do you want us to go? I mean, what do you want us to do, Mr. President, Mr. Black Jesus from Africa? We need to know. Let's keep listening. Kenya.
And kindness. And by the way, you need that person in your friend group so that
somebody said Professor Butt Swanger. Professor, I hate all of y'all. Professor Butt Swanger. We need Professor Butt Swanger. That's the prideful professor. I hate you. I hate all of you. Can't stand Professor Butt Swanger. Oh, you are horrible people.
If you then have a boy who's gay or non-binary or what have you, they have somebody that they can go, okay, I'm not alone in this. Yeah. Right. So
Barack Obama is in the news again because he was on Michelle Obama's podcast and he said that he thinks all boys need more than their fathers as role models. He said that he thinks that all boys need a gay role model.
That's what he said, baby.
That's what he said growing up. Now, am I surprised he said that? No, but
not a football coach, not therapy. We need a prideful mentor. That's what he's saying that all us black boys need. So that's gonna stop, huh? Not a police officer who tells them about the consequences of committing crime, not a electrician, none of that. We need a Professor Butt Swanger.
Because he is America's first gay president. And that has been editorialized. But I want to challenge Barack Obama. Since you are the Democrats' favorite Black president, and you say you from...
He is the favorite. He's the Democrats. He's the African president. Where all the Africans at? Isn't he from Africa? His daddy's from Kenya. Y'all need to claim him. Don't claim him like you've been claiming. Let's go ahead. Let's correct that.
In the hood, I challenge you to go to the most dangerous projects. where there are not many fathers because they were locked up under Reagan, Clinton, and Biden.
Sure were.
And say some shit like that.
Go on over there to
I
the
double
hood
dare you.
and tell them they need to tell them youngsters over there that they need a.
To all of y'all that was like, Obama, my first black president, my first black president, my first black president. Got y'all asses fucked up, huh? So y'all know he went on that podcast and said that all these boys need gay men around them now because gay men provide empathy. Y'all was so gung-ho on having the first black so-called president.
I mean, why can't these boys learn empathy from their mothers? Aren't women the ones that typically teach us empathy? Isn't that how that works? I mean, why is it we just got to go? We got to get a prideful man, like golly. I mean, I guess I don't know. Let's keep listening.
But y'all missed the whole damn agenda to begin with. His whole agenda was to push the gay agenda. And he succeeded in doing that. So now y'all mad because this motherfucker done doubled down on the podcast show?
Ma'am, it's Sunday. You can't hit us with the MF on Sunday. This is the Lord's Day. This is the Lord's Day. You just threw the MF out there like that. Don't say that. Family friendly. Keep going.
And said that you lack empathy, so therefore you need to be replaced by a gay man to show your damn child empathy? Y'all gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, y'all gotta watch the language.
You've already served your 2 terms.
What'd you say?
Barack Hussein Obama, please have several seats.
Now, I just want y'all to know that black people are real angry with Barack. We used to hide the fact that his middle name was Hussein. We used to call him Barry and whatnot. Okay, but now they call him now they call him by his Muslim name, Barack Hussein Obama. Keep in mind, the daddy changed his name to Hussein. Okay, it was simply Barack Obama, but then he changed it. But when you start hearing black people saying stuff like Barack Hussein Obama, they calling him out. But let's keep listening to the sister. And I got a special guest coming in who will be able to discuss these matters in more details from the target audience's perspective. And I'm talking about what young men actually think. Let's keep listening.
Sir, or whatever pronoun you prefer. You've already served your 2 terms.
Yeah,
and apparently it's hard for you to come to terms with the fact that you are no longer relevant.
You need to sit down, sir.
You are no longer relevant. You were the biggest hoax that the elites pulled on this country, because we thought that by electing you as the first black president, although according to history, you are not the first black president of this country.
But you are not the first black president. You are the first African president, because the Africans have told us on numerous occasions that you are an African. Okay, so we don't want to keep that from the Africans. Okay, Barack Hussein Obama, whose daddy's from Kenya, and I'm sure there's some Israelis, some Israelite, black Hebrewites with the black Hebrew Israelites will back me up on this. You inherit your father's heritage. So he's from Kenya, right? That's right what y'all say. So but nevertheless, let's keep listening to the sister.
That by electing the first black president, that we were fulfilling the Martin Luther King I have a dream, we shall overcome agenda, when we were actually undergoing a different agenda. You pushed your LGBTQIA LMNOP agenda across the globe, okay? You won the Nobel Peace Prize after several wars were started under your administration. And before any of you blacks come on my page talking about how I'm a sellout because I'm not.
You said blacks kind of rough. You said blacks. Ooh, she said it, but anyway, that's not what we talk about tonight.
Along with someone that's similar to my skin tone. There was a leader in Africa by the name of Muammar Gaddafi that was working on behalf of Africa and that did a lot for the Africa.
Yeah, we're gonna move on past that. We're gonna go on to somebody else.
You know what y'all feel about this, because I'm confused about what the Obamas was talking about.
Yeah, I think we all are. But anyway, look here. I got a special guest on the call to talk about this situation from the perspective of a person who the target audience, so to speak, young black men, and I happen to have a couple of them around here. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you all to the Crimson Sun. Mr. Crimson Sun, welcome to the broadcast, sir. How are you today?
Hello, I'm doing good.
All right. Can you all hear the Crimson Sun? The Crimson Sun, also known as my son, Roman. Roman, have you had an opportunity to listen to a little bit of what I'm talking about here?
Yes, I have.
All right, so I'm gonna run back this quote. I'm gonna read it to you. If you all can hear the Crimson Sun, and by the way, I'm gonna go ahead because he charges. The Crimson Sun does charge by the hour. It's hard to book him these days. The Crimson Sun, if you learn something from the Crimson Sun, also known as my son Roman, he charges. Very expensive. Nickname is Gucci Man. Okay, we call him Gucci Man because he's been rocking his name brand stuff for a minute, and that's his style. As you all know, Roman is a straight A student, and he is congratulations on achieving your second degree black belt today, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So, I think the people have followed you, and they followed you and I and things that we do together. I'm gonna recite the quote to you, and it basically says that, and this is our former president, Barack Obama. He said, not just exposure to one guy and one dad, no matter how good the dad is, he can't be everything. And that boy may need somebody to give the boy some perspective on the dad. And one of the most valuable things I learned as a guy, and this is Barack Obama's quote, was I had a gay professor in college at time when openly gay folks still weren't out a lot, who became one of my favorite professors. He was a great guy and would call me out when I started saying stuff that was ignorant. This is what he said, Mr. Crimson Sun. He said, you need that to show empathy and kindness. And by the way, you need that person in your friend group so that if you then have a boy who's gay or non-binary or what have you, they have somebody that they can go to say, okay, I'm not alone in this. That was the former President Barack Obama. What is your general take on that statement as a 15-year-old young man who goes to an American high school? What are your thoughts, Mr. Crimson Sun?
I don't think you don't need a gay person to learn how to be empathetic or learn your own emotions.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And gay people aren't the only ones who are kind and empathetic.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I think about it.
So in your experience as a young 15-year-old, and the thing about your generation that a lot of my generation and other people don't understand is we know that you all are exposed to a lot of social media. So you see a lot of things that we wouldn't otherwise see. And if you all can hear the Crimson Sun, make sure you hit the number 1 button. Let me know you can hear the Crimson Sun. Moderators, if you can hear him, let me know. You all are exposed to a lot of things. So I'm sure you all see all sorts of folks on TikTok and all these other social media with all these different orientations, and you probably see them at your high school, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and so and what I guess what I'm asking is, do you think you need how would you feel? I'm your daddy, right? I'm your daddy. So let's just say I kept a spare prideful person, a spare pride man around, just in case one of y'all decided to be prideful. What is your thought about that particular assertion by the former president?
It's like an unnecessary precaution.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you shouldn't be raising your children to be gay. So.
And you said that. I didn't say that. And just so you all know, I let my children speak openly. We have open conversation. The young man said you shouldn't be raising your kids to be gay. Okay. Now, if this was in California, I might get reprimanded for that. But here in Texas and the rest of America, this is what the young man said. Go ahead. Somebody said, let him cook. Anything else you want to add to this, sir?
That's mostly all I have to say.
Yeah. Have I been able to teach you empathy in your life?
Yes.
Give them some examples about where you saw me being empathetic to someone, either recently or in the past.
One time when I was in elementary school, someone had took my jacket, and you went to strong measures to get it back.
What I did, a strong message. What did I tell them? What your daddy did when they took your little jacket? Go ahead, tell them.
You called the police to the school and you told them to give it back to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did do that, and they end up putting you out of that little school. But I had to show you that, I had your back. But there was an incident today that happened in front of the Starbucks. You remember that?
Oh, yes, I do.
What happened then?
It was a homeless man, and you gave him money.
But when I first went in, what did I say to him?
You said, no, you didn't want to buy the thing.
He was trying to sell me a bike helmet. And what did I tell him?
You said no? I don't remember.
You remember how I told him?
No, I do not.
Did you see what was Daddy wearing today? Did I have you see what I was wearing?
Yes, you had on like a brown jacket and pants.
I had on a brown velour sweatsuit, son. Brown velour sweatsuit. I didn't wear my gaiters today, but I was definitely feeling myself. And I told that gentleman, look, I'm too goddamn big to be putting a goddamn bike helmet on. but when I came back out, I gave him $2. And after I gave him the $2 and we got in the car, what did I say?
You asked him what his story was and how he ended up where he is.
And without using the M word, because I don't want to get demonetized, what did the man say?
His father was abusive in the worst way, and his mom didn't do anything about it, so he had to take measures into his own hands.
And he ended up unaliving his father, and he did 17 years in prison for unaliving his father. And then when he got out, he just was unable to get himself on his feet. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now, I did not have to know that man's story to know that he deserved empathy. And fortunately, nothing like that has ever happened to me, and it's never happened to you boys. But empathy, that is a sign of a father showing empathy right there. Giving that man a few dollars, not knowing his story, but knowing he's been through something, you see? And you didn't need a gay man to teach you that, did you?
No.
You saw that in your own father. Now, I have surrounded you all by other men, right? Like,
yes, you have.
Like the gentleman, and now I can't control every damn body you hang around, but the men that I do choose, Sensei, what have you learned? What have you learned from Sensei?
I learned to be strong. I've mastered my Shotokan, and I learned how to control my emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And are there other men that I brought you around?
Yes.
Okay, so again, there are men that I purposely bring you around, and there are men that you end up around that I have nothing to do with. The men that I brought you around, name them. Well, you don't have to name them, but you can kind of describe them and what you've learned from them.
Well, some of the people, we have one of my coaches. He's a UFC fighter, and he's really good for how he is. And our preacher, he's deep in his Christian faith. He's a strong black man, and That's all I have off the top of my head. But there's more. Well, we have my jiu-jitsu professor. He's I think an 8 times black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he was coached by William Gracie, who is the son of Carlos Gracie, who invented Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm. And he's a father. He's a married man. He has children. He's a business owner. And those are other men, right?
Yes.
What about, and we'll just speak about your brother. There have been numerous tutors that I brought around, like his math tutor. How has Dennis's math tutor influenced him? Just being around, having a black man with a PhD from Mississippi come and tutor Dennis from middle school all the way up through high school. What do you think that effect has had on Dennis, your older brother?
It's made Dennis smarter and more like put together in his studies.
And that man has a wife, and he's a homeowner. So you see what I'm saying, Roman? The diversity of men around you have been men who have the same character and beliefs that I do. Okay, they are married men. They're masculine men. They're men who like women. You see, and they're family men, and they're hardworking men. Those are the sort of men that I want around you, because those are the character traits I want you to pick and choose from. Now, what if Dad had instead of bringing you around those type of men, I just took you to everybody that I had you hanging around was a prideful man that I picked up at the Pride Parade? Do you think that would influence you also?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Because kids are young and impressionable. And if I bring them around you, right, you're more likely to be open to their ideas and what they have to say. Is that fair to say?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And so that's why when we have a president who says stuff like that, people to actually listen to, we have a president that says stuff like, yeah, we should, you should have a spare pride man around just in case. You should hang around that. It sets a dangerous precedent because kids are impressionable. And that's why I've always been very careful with the caliber of men and the type of men I allow you to be around. Before I let you go, because I know you have to go to work tomorrow, sir, is there anything else you would like to add? I do have your Cash App up if you'd like to. When are we going to see another movie review from the Crimson Sun?
Hopefully soon.
That's good to know. Is there anything else you'd like to add to people who are raising teenage boys out there, little black boys in America?
Raise them to be strong and smart, and have good influences around them.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, sir. Let's give a big shout out to the Crimson Sun. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure having you on the broadcast tonight. Thank you, sir. Have a blessed and wonderful day.
You too.
Okay. All right. Big shout out to my son, Roman. Roman is a straight A student. He just got his 2nd degree Shotokan black belt. He has a 2nd degree black belt in Kung Fu, and also a working on his blue belt in William Gracie in Jiu-Jitsu. So shout out to, and again, he's on his way to medical school. He's going to go to medical school. So, I do have experience raising my sons. But anyway, let's get back. I want to get back to the nitty gritty. I want to talk about what Barack Obama said, because see, amongst the clips, there are actually people who are defending what he says. They're saying, well, that's not what he said. So we're going to kind of break down what he said, and let's do it. You guys hit the number 1 button if you can hear me. He said, and this is what he said. And I read the statement earlier, and this is one of the things that I think a lot of times boys need to, not just exposure to one guy and one dad. As a matter of fact, I'll let it play for himself. I'm going to let this play so he can say it himself, okay? We'll let him.
One of the most valuable things I learned as a guy was I had a gay professor.
Let me run that back a little bit more. Okay. little bit more.
Times boys need.
I'm gonna let that play until we get to the point necessary. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. Let's take a listen.
That's one of the things that I think a lot of times boys need is not just exposure to one guy.
One dad.
One dad.
Let's break that down. So he begins by challenging the idea that a boy's development, particularly into a healthy, balanced man, can't be guided by just one father figure, no matter how great the father is. And this undermines the culturally dominant ideal of the super dad, and it highlights a different approach to masculinity, where a child benefits from a village of male perspectives and personalities and emotional framework. I get where he's coming from, okay? But the thing is, masculine identity is he's coming from the perspective that masculine identity is socially constructed and best shaped by multiple influences. I don't disagree with the fact that that is true. Boys need a spectrum of male guidance, father figures, mentors, teachers, uncles, coaches, peers, etc. Okay, Obama's point is what? Boys benefit from multiple male influences, not just their father. Okay, a single father, while important, may not be able to meet every developmental or emotional need. Here's the problem. There's a perceived attack on fatherhood. See, many fathers feel this undermines and discredits the sufficiency and importance in our sons' lives. You see, because Obama is implying that straight men lack emotional depth and parenting range. And this is actually feeding into the narrative, the negative narrative that Black fathers are absent and emotionally inadequate. So that's why you have so much pushback. Let's continue listening.
No matter how good the dad is.
He can't be everything.
He can't be everything. And that boy may need somebody to give the boy some perspective on the dad.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, now let's analyze that. So in this particular statement, Obama notes that even the best fathers have limitations. He suggests that having other adults in a child's life provides balance and context, even when it comes to how the child interprets the father's behavior, values, and flaws. The implication is this, that children benefit from a third-party perspective that will help them process the family dynamics. And, this promotes critical thinking rather than blind allegiance to authority figures, including parents. And what did he say? He said, and that boy may need somebody to give the boy some perspective on the dad. Having other male mentors may help a child process and better understand his father's values and faults and lessons. And it encourages balance as far as views of authority figures. Here's the problem. Why would my child need someone else to explain me to them? Okay? Especially someone who does not have my lived experience, who is not even of my sexual orientation. You see? But what it's done is implying that fathers must be filtered through others to be understood and accepted. He's overstepping his bounds. All right, now let's continue listening, because you all are saying, well, we didn't understand, we misinterpreted what our first African president said. Let's keep listening.
Yeah.
One of the most valuable things I learned as a guy was I had a gay professor in college at a time when openly gay folks still weren't out of line, who became one of my favorite professors and was a great guy and would call me out when I started saying stuff that was ignorant.
All right, so in this particular moment, it's couched as a moment of humility and growth. And at this point, he's reflecting back to college and his openly gay professor who challenged his ignorance. Okay, and let me just point out, for those of you guys who've been to college and law school and professional school, you don't have to be gay to challenge a student's perspective. I mean, that just comes with the territory. All right. But back to this, during the time when it was openly gay was socially risky. All right. So this professor stood firm, and it helped Obama expand his worldview. In other words, he's saying he was a brave and courageous man. So he's implying that. Okay. And more importantly, the exposure to the difference is it was crucial for his personal development, you know. And look, generally speaking, masculinity should include the ability to be corrected and to learn from those outside your identity group. But if you're a 15-year-old kid or a 10-year-old kid and you got a 35-year-old football coach, I'm sure he wouldn't mind correcting you, and he's definitely outside of your identity group. And he's probably married, and especially in that case, so you a kid, he's got a wife, he's a middle-aged man. Why can't we have that? Why does it have to be a gay professor? And so this is the things that are causing folk to be in uproar. He also suggests that that allyship and growth require discomfort and correction. Okay, what did he say? One of the most valuable things I learned as a guy was I had a gay professor in college at the time when openly gay folks still weren't a lot of them who became one of my favorite professors. Okay, personal growth came from exposure, all right, to someone different. His professor played a meaningful, intellectually enriching role in his life. Cool, all right, but that's irrelevant to a black boy growing up in the hood. You understand? What does your college experience with a professor have to do with raising boys in broken homes and crime-ridden communities, with all the challenges that we're dealing with? See, he's pushing an agenda, okay? And many of us see this as a strategic promotion of LGBT inclusion within black male development, which was never traditionally part of that. That's not what got us out of civil rights. That's not what got us out of slavery. That's not what helped us win the civil rights, civil war. You see? You see what I'm saying? Many of us have negative experiences with educational figures, negative past experience with educators in particular, especially when involving teachers, right? And what about the inappropriate boundaries that some of these people with these different lifestyle choices make? Why aren't we concerned about that? Because that also goes with that influence. And many of us don't want that. All right, let's continue listening.
Mm-hmm. You need that to show empathy and kindness. And by the way, you need that person in your friend group, so that if you then have a boy who's gay or.
And by the way, I want you to reinterpret that. By the way, you need you men, you fathers, you need that guy in your friend group. Okay, so it's not sufficient for it to exist. No, you need to bring someone like that in your friend group. They need to be your friend, not an associate, not a psychologist, not a therapist. Just in case one of your children decide to run that route, you need one of them in your friend group so you can personally talk to them, or they can talk to your son. Now, see, that kind of reemphasizes what they're saying. This is like you're pushing an agenda. And this is what has black people, because we know he's talking to us. You see what I mean? This is what your first African president had to say. Your first African president of America said this. Let's keep listening to this statement.
Non-binary or what have you, they have somebody that they can go, okay, I'm not alone in this.
So Barack Obama just said.
So the other thing he said was about his professor. He was a great guy. He was a good mentor, and I don't necessarily doubt that. But why is the gay man framed as the moral compass or gatekeeper of your ignorance? Because that's what you said. You said he was a great guy and would call me out and started saying stuff that was when I said stuff that was ignorant. That's your gatekeeper. You see? It sounds like Barack Obama was looking for male role models in college. It sounds like he didn't have a father involved in his life, at least not one he respected. And we know this to be true. And that's why you have to be mindful of the people you accept advice from. You see? this is the other thing. And throughout this whole thing, there's a subtle suggestion that black men are inherently bigoted unless corrected by others. You see? Why not credit a straight man or a traditional role model with this type of positive challenge? That's what I'm trying to understand. You see? The other thing he said that I found quite interesting, you need that to show empathy and kindness in reference to having the a gay mentor, okay, for you, just in case you have a child that is gay or non-binary. And he asserts that mentorship and correction aren't about control. They're about teaching empathy and kindness, okay? Empathy, and we understand that empathy isn't a weakness. It's a core masculine virtue. And boys who are never corrected or challenged, they grow into this rigid, unempathetic group of men, right? But here's the thing. Empathy is not exclusive to gay men. And many felt insulted by the suggestion that straight men or fathers can't teach compassion. And the whole thing is they just bypass mothers altogether. Why did he skip over women, particularly mothers and grandmothers? They're the natural sources of empathy. You see? Here's the cold part about it. He's stereotyping gay men as more sensitive. And ironically, some gay people take umbrage to that, you know? So because you're typecasting it. Basically, you're saying they soft. Okay, that's basically it. All right. The other thing is, again, he said you need to, and by the way, you need a person in your friend group so that if you then have a boy who is gay or non-binary or what have you, they have somebody that can go, okay, I'm not alone on this. This is what he said, right? So the thing is, let's ask ourselves why a straight man is required to have a gay friend just in case their child might be gay. Shout out to 50 Cent. You understand what I'm saying? Good parenting and love are sufficient regardless of orientation, right? Why do they need a gay role model? And again, this looks like a deliberate, they're deliberately provoking a backlash to further this progressive globalist agenda. See, the thing is, in the traditional African Black American family, you got uncles, you have cousins, you have grandfathers, you got coaches, you got pastors, and all were present. They have always been there, without the need for identity-based inclusion. I'm sure many of you have gay relatives, but why must we push that as an agenda? Here's the thing. I want y'all to hear me out, man. And we're not going to be here long tonight, all right? Let's just cut through the diplomatic nonsense. Let's do that. All right. Let's get straight to it. Barack Obama's recent comments about Black boys needing gay male mentors, because again, he was talking about Black men, because we know that white folks are not listening to him at all. So we know he was talking to Black men and Black boys on Michelle Obama's broadcast. Specifically, he was pitching that to Black women who are typically the mothers of Black boys. You understand? So we know what this was about. Okay? His whole statement that Black boys need a gay mentor, they're not just tone deaf. It's disrespectful and it's insulting and it's dangerous. And this isn't just some passing quote we can ignore. This is yet another betrayal from a man we elected in office. All my foundational Black American brothers and sisters, this man got nearly over 90% of the vote, and we defended him for 8 years. You couldn't say anything wrong about him. You see, we watched him repeatedly undermine the very people who lifted him to power. And now he's crossed the line. And that is too often been quiet, and we've been quiet about it. You see? And nobody wants to be labeled homophobic or intolerant or ignorant. So we haven't said anything about it. Am I telling the truth? I'm sure there are many people who are listening to this broadcast say that's homophobic, Blizzard King. Uncle D, you being homophobic. I know. But here's the thing. We need to be clear about something. We reject the claim that a good father isn't enough. We reject the claim. We reject the false framing that straight black men are emotionally defective and need gay men to teach them how to love their own sons or connect with their own children. Black fathers are already under siege by media, by the courts, by the education system. And now we've got Barack Obama piling on saying that they're not enough for their own sons. Who does this man think he's talking to? Suggesting that gay men or any other man is uniquely capable of teaching empathy not only is offensive, but it's also a stereotype. And it's a backhanded slap to the hundreds of thousands of straight black men who are out here breaking generational curses and raising strong, emotionally intelligent sons without needing some sort of rainbow badge to do it. See, this isn't inclusion, it's emasculation. It's yet another step in a long campaign to soften and feminize and pacify black boys under the banner of progress. And the worst part, it didn't come from outside the community. It came from the Obamas. See, this isn't inclusion, it's forced ideology. This is forced inclusion at best. They basically are shoving this agenda into black spaces without consent, without context, and without care. Obama didn't say this while in a white liberal think tank. Shout out to Cody Marshall. He said it in Michelle Obama's podcast, surrounded by black women who still cling to this 2008 fantasy of this royal black couple. He used their trust as a weapon to sneak in an ideological Trojan horse of progress. This isn't about love, it's about control. It's about shaming black men into silence and then replacing us with ideological compliant placeholders. Look, disagreeing with the idea that gay men are necessary mentors for straight boys, that's not homophobic. It's just common sense. It's about boundaries, appropriateness, and protecting the psychological development of our children. No one wants their boys confused by sexual identity politics before they even know who they are. And this backlash isn't just about the words, it's about motives. Obama doesn't speak for us anymore. He hasn't for a long time. He made his home among the liberal elite where lectures replaced listening and symbolism trump substance. Michelle's suspicious wordplay switching dad to guy, that didn't go unnoticed either. We see the game. Subtle erasure, linguistic sabotage. They're trying to reframe the family without telling you outright. Add to that the disturbing personal accounts of boundary crossing, gay mentors, and inappropriate relationships. These are real experiences that too many of us have heard about and some of us have lived through. These aren't just stories. They are red flags. They're emotional triggers. They're warning signs. And we're not going to apologize for raising the alarm. Look, let's say this flat out. Sexual orientation does not equal wisdom. Shout out to Black saying. Just because someone is gay doesn't make them more emotionally equipped to guide boys. That's a lie. And it's an insult to uncles and coaches and teachers and grandfathers and pastors who've been holding our communities down for generations. You see, words matter. And Obama's words were a declaration of intolerance. He didn't say black boys couldn't benefit or might grow from different perspectives. He said they need gay male mentors. That's not a suggestion. That's the commandment. And for many of us, that was the final straw. We are tired of black culture being treated like a testing ground for progressive experiments. We're tired of the LGBTQ issues being centered in Black spaces while our economic and educational and familial concerns go ignored. Obama had 2 terms. He lit the White House up in rainbow colors, but gave Black America nothing but platitudes. We didn't get a police reform bill. We didn't get reparations. We got a damn Spotify podcast, and that's it. Okay. And then there's the Bible. Yes, the Bible. Many of us still read it. And while you may not agree with everyone's interpretation, we're not going to let Barack Obama or anyone else shame us for holding on to our faith and our values and our traditions. I certainly am not. You know, fatherhood is the real crisis, not a lack of rainbow mentors. Let's talk about what's really harming Black boys. Single motherhood, absent fathers, a lack of education, lack of opportunities when they grow up, broken homes, generational trauma. But instead of focusing on rebuilding the nuclear family, Obama wants to import new mentors to fill a role he himself wouldn't even model. Because let's not forget, he doesn't have sons. If Obama actually cared, he would use his massive platform to say, Black men, step up, be there, mentor these boys, restore your families. But instead, he says, you're not enough. Send the gay guys in. That's not empowerment. That's a slap in the face. It's a slap in the face to every father doing his best. You see, and we're not the same. People are finally saying it out loud. Barack Obama is not one of us. He is the son of a Kenyan economist and a white woman from Kansas. He was raised in Indonesia and Hawaii. He went to Harvard and Columbia, and now he lives in Martha's Vineyard, dining with billionaires, pretending to understand what it means to be a Black man in America today. He may have our skin, but he does not have our spirit. He's not forged in the struggle. He doesn't carry our pain. He doesn't speak our language. And he doesn't live our truth. And he no longer represents us, if he ever did at all. You see, we need to cut through these niceties. And we need to get to the real issue. Forget about the platitudes. Forget about the inclusion. We're talking about the survival and proper socialization of our young Black men in a country that already criminalizes them, emasculates them, marginalizes them from birth. And the question is, how in the heck does prioritizing gay male mentorship help that situation? This isn't about grown adults choosing their friends or finding their community. We're talking about impressionable young Black boys, 80% of whom are being raised in single parent homes without a consistent male presence. These boys don't need ideological, they don't need ideological experiments or forced social engineering. They need structure. They need discipline. They need real men, Black men, heterosexual, masculine men to show them what it means to be a responsible father, protector, and leader. If the objective is to raise healthy, family-oriented, well-adjusted Black men, then let's stop playing games. Those boys need to be around men who model that very behavior and outcome. That's it. And this means fathers, pastors, uncles, grandfathers, mentors from all walks of life, men who walk the path these boys are expected to grow into. Now, why is that controversial on this Sunday evening? Huh? Why? Well, we don't need to diversify our mentorship by injecting sexual orientation into that equation like it's a moral upgrade. And we certainly don't need Barack Obama or anyone else telling us that straight Black men are incapable of teaching our sons emotional intelligence or compassion. That's insulting. It's patronizing and it's flat out wrong. And this isn't about excluding anyone. It's about prioritizing what's effective. It's about healing our community with cultural alignment, not ideological confusion thought up in some liberal think tank somewhere on the East Coast. Because see, whether folks want to admit it or not, our boys are under assault physically, psychologically, culturally, and now even spiritually. And the last thing they need is some aloof coastal elite telling them their fathers don't measure up. Let's call it what it is. This isn't progress. It's indoctrination disguised as empathy. And here's where it gets worse. We are now watching a former senator turned president, now turned irrelevant media pundit, lecturing Black parents on how to raise our Black boys. And that's not just arrogance, it's delusional overreach. We don't want your advice, Mr. Obama. We don't want our daughters to be like your daughters, Mr. Obama. We didn't ask for your advice on parenting, and frankly, we don't respect it. Instead of running your mouth on a podcast, how about you focus on the long list of broken promises you left behind? Focus on the economy, the crumbling infrastructure, the broken Black communities your administration barely acknowledged. Our children are not your political science project. They don't live in your gated neighborhoods of your Martha Vineyard estate. They live with us in the real world, and we will raise them our way. And here's the kicker. Obama never said a good mother isn't enough, and I hinted on this earlier. Not once, but he had the nerve to say a good father isn't. And then he subtly implied that even mothers aren't enough because he apparently only a gay man can give a boy perspective and teach them empathy. Look, mothers have been the backbone of the emotional development in the Black community for generations. Grandmothers too. And now we're going to act like their contribution doesn't count unless it comes in a package with a sexual identity badge. Absolutely, positively not. That's erasure. And more importantly, it's disrespectful as hell. Excuse my language. But let this be a wake-up call, Black folks. Let this be a wake-up call to all my foundational Black American brothers and sisters. Stop taking advice from performative politicians, especially ones who've never raised a Black boy, never lived a Black American life, and certainly doesn't understand the pressure cooker our sons are growing up in. Barack Obama was raised, he was raised by a white woman and some white family members. Okay, he wasn't raised by a Black man. He was raised by white liberals in Hawaii and Indonesia. He didn't grow up dodging gangs and navigating underfunded schools or facing the day-to-day microaggressions that define the lives of most Black boys in this country. So when he opens his mouth to advise us, he speaks from privilege, not experience, from ideology, not insight. And no proximity to Blackness is not the same as understanding it. Obama was the first African president by appearance, and Black technically, but African for real. But his record, his rhetoric, and his priorities have consistently told us that he doesn't represent us. When we cried out about police killings, he told us to stay calm. When we asked for reparation, he said no. But when it came to push the LGBT symbolism, he lit the damn White House in rainbow colors. Let that sink in. And this is why foundational Black Americans must draw a line. We don't need validation from political mascots. We don't need parenting tips from cultural tourists. We don't need anyone, Black, white, or rainbow, telling us that people who've been holding this community together for generations are no longer enough. We've always known what our children need. And guess what? It's not Barack Obama's advice. You understand me? I think we all can be clear on that. Now, I have another video I want you guys to take a look at. And you guys tell me, we'll break this down in a minute. If you learn something, I should earn something. I know this is a little bit more free-flowing than I normally do, but I think it was necessary. All right? But let's go ahead and take a look at this second set of videos. I want y'all to understand, these people realize they have effed up with men. In fact, the Democrat Party has spent $20 million trying to figure out what boys want. So they're trying to usher out Barack Obama. Here's another part of this conversation that our former president have. Y'all hit the number 1 button if you can hear it. Once I start playing it, hit the number 1 button if you can hear it. And I know this is a little bit off from our normal history and tense lessons, but you know, it's social commentary and it's necessary. And again, as I started off and told you all, my number 1 title is father. And it just so happens that I'm a Black father. Speaking of which, if you'd like to participate in a Young Fathers Conference via Zoom, please email me at spurlingdennis@gmail.com. I'm going to set something up where we talk about different topics. I'm coming up with the topics. And this can probably be like 45 minutes or an hour. And I'm just going to invite young men to come in and listen, and we'll have a question and answer period at the end, because, you know, I want to help make great fathers. And it's open, you know, anybody who wants to come in. I'm sure there's going to be limited spot because, as you know, these online services like Zoom and whatnot, they have limited places. Might only be able to get, you know, 10, 15, 20 people in the Zoom chat room, but we'll do the best we can, and we'll hold it, depending on how it goes, we'll record it, and I'll make it available for people to see. But anyway, let's go ahead and listen to this second round of statements that Barack Obama. I want y'all to listen carefully. Listen carefully.
And just when we don't think about boys and just assume they're going to be okay because they've been running the world and, you know, they've got all the advantages relative to the girls, and all of which is.
I want you to listen to this and what he's saying. He is going out of his way to walk back everything he said, because in no possible way can he ever suggest, okay, that boys have issues and that they've been taken advantage of. Because remember, this man built a whole career on telling women they were victimized and telling men they were bad, especially Black men. Keep listening.
When we don't think about boys and just assume they're going to be okay because
you don't think about boys, and you never did. You don't, sir.
They've been running the world, and, you know, they've got all the advantages relative to the girls, and all of which has historically been true in all kinds of ways.
He had to say that to please the feminists. Historically, they have. Look, it's painful for him because they've lost the male vote, okay? Largely because of people like this. You listen.
But precisely because of that, if you're not thinking about how, what's happening to boys and how are they being raised, then that can actually hurt women. And I would argue that some of the...
If you don't think about how boys are being raised, that can actually hurt women. Yeah, yes it can, Mr. First African President, because boys are necessary to do what? Keep the economy going, keep the country safe, rebuild the economy, rebuild the nation, build the nation, roads, bridges, plumbing. And so if boys are unmotivated, guess what's gonna happen? The country shuts down. Listen to him. Look, it's painful for this man to explain this.
Broad political trends we've seen, not just in this country, but around the world, have to do with this sense of, you know, boys, men not feeling as if they are.
It's not about feelings, sir. It's not how we feel. But let's let him see. When people use the term feel, that's a way in which to downplay your righteous indignation. You just feel bad. You'll get over it. It's just a feeling. You know, that's what he's saying. No, this is their perception. This is their lived reality. This is not about feelings. Men focus less on feelings and more at the bottom line. But let's keep listening to this hot mess of a conversation this man is having.
Are feeling as if they count.
Feeling.
And that then
feeling as if you know where we learn how much we count. We learn in family law court. That's where we learn. We learn when we go to criminal court and, you know, we get these extended penalties, or the court doesn't believe us, or they lock us up solely because we make better prisoners. I mean, I'm just saying, sir, or when we get thrown to the front lines to fight wars that don't benefit the average man.
Makes them more interested in appeals by folks who say, you know what, the reason you don't feel respected is because women have been doing this, or this group has been doing this, or that group's.
So now he's talking about the online community, men who are exchanging notes and talking about the world. So just they feel. Look, somebody type "feel" in the chat room. It's not real. These are just how you feel, fellas. You just feel bad. Like take some NyQuil and you'll feel better, right? This is this guy, right? Keep listening.
Been doing this, and that is not that's not a healthy place to be, and
it's not a healthy place to be for people for men to realize that they're getting a raw deal. That's what this gentleman is. You wonder what's going on in the world, and any fair-minded woman listening to this, listen to how this man, he does not want to say this. He is but the Democrat Party is bleeding male vote and male support, and they have got to figure out how they're going to reclaim that. That's what's going on.
And I will say, as quote unquote progressives, Democrats, progressive parent.
I've never seen this man so choked up. This man is usually eloquent and well-spoken. He don't know what to say. He has no idea how to word this thing. They have not got their talking points down.
Enlightened ones. We've made that mistake sometimes in terms of our rhetoric. You in other words, you basically made men out to be the villains. You call them a bunch of rapists and such and so forth. And now men are saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and not vote. I'm gonna sit on the couch, or I'm gonna go ahead and vote for Trump. And we're gonna run you Democrats up out of here. We're gonna let him wreck shop. The things are correct. He don't know what to say. Look at this mumble about you went to Harvard, looked like you went to the local community college and got a 1.9 GPA because you thought you was gonna get that football scholarship, sir. That's what it sounds where
like.
It's like we're constantly talking about it, what's wrong with the boys instead of what's right with them. We in
other words, you're constantly vilifying boys, telling them they're horrible, sir. That's what you've done. That's what you did. You just sat up there and said black fathers need help from gay dudes. You said it, okay, and now you up here speaking out the other side. We constantly vilifying boys, not just boys, as fathers, as men, as grandfathers, ... XYZ, sir.
Rightly have tried to invest in girls to make sure that
we rightly invested in women. We did. Okay, cool, nothing wrong with that. But you can't neglect the men who maintain the country just to uplift women and think it's gonna work out well, sir. You never bite the hand that feeds you, sir. Sir, just keep going.
There's a level playing field, and then they're not barred from opportunities. But we haven't been as willing.
Do any of you women think you're barred from any opportunities at this particular point? Are you barred from the right to vote? Are you barred from going to school? I mean, getting the college degrees. I mean, there's more women in college than men. Do you think you're barred from it? What right do men have that women don't have these days? Other than the fact that men have the right to be drafted into the military. You don't have that right. I mean, if you ladies, you have the right to get any job you want to get. You can get a job, any job you want. You can apply for it. Like if there's some plumbing jobs open right now, here in Houston, they're sending people down into the sewers to clean it out with the rats and the roaches. Any of you ladies who want to sign up for that job, you're welcome to jump on down there. They start you off at $12.50. I could probably get you $15 an hour. If you want to go down there and clean these sewers here in Houston, Texas, I can get you a job. All you ladies want to sign up, go ahead and hit me up. But let's go ahead and keep listening to our mumble mouth president.
I think to be intentional about investing in the boys, and that's been a mistake. And I think people are starting to recognize that. So going back to your optimism, I think there's
they're finally starting to recognize it because men are like, nah, we're not voting. Nah, we're not participating. That's what's going on? Now you're fighting the record. It took all this. It took the election of Donald Trump, who said, I'm gonna tear this whole thing up. I'm gonna gut the swamp. It took all of that for y'all to finally. So in other words, it took you all to experience political pain for you to realize to correct your ways. I'm just saying. I'm just pointing it out, sir. Is that what it took? So did you really learn the lesson? Or are you trying to some kind of way recover what you lost?
A healthier conversation taking place now, both among this new generation.
The new generation, you telling the millennials or is it what is it, Generation Z? They're not talking about this. They're not talking about that. Let's keep listening.
Of young women and men, but also among
these young men are playing video games, sir. And these young women are on TikTok. Okay? They're on TikTok and OnlyFans. That's where they are, sir. Now, let's not make up stuff, sir. Let's not make up stuff, Mr. First African President. We're not gonna pretend that everything is hunky-dory, sir.
The public at large that's starting to see like, hey, you know, we got to do better by our boys, and if we do better by our boys, and we're producing stronger, more confident men, that's going to be good.
Oh, you mean go back to the way things used to be? That's what you're saying, sir? We already beyond that, sir, but go ahead and finish.
Our girls and our women as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank God. Hallelujah. I found this very interesting. This was right on point. This young man, look, I'm laughing too much tonight, man. Look, you know, we always talk about this gender war that we have in the Black community, but nothing compares to what's going on in the white community. I know most Black folk don't really know what's going on over there because you all haven't been on YouTube and you haven't been studying what's going on with the different movements. But white men and white women are really having a rough go at it, okay? And that's part of the reason Trump is in office, because Trump said, I'm going to put them back in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant. And we're going to do away with these rights of reproductive rights. We're going to get them pregnant. We're going to get some more white babies. Somebody type white babies in the chat room. We're going to get plenty of white babies, and we're going to take this country back. We're going to make America great again. That's basically what this is about. So listen to this gentleman. I found this hilarious. It's almost as if he's talking to a fifth grade class. Listen to her. Dating epidemic, challenging men and women. Listen to this.
Women do not need men to get bank accounts, houses. They have careers on their own.
No, you still rely on men. It's just indirect now. See, men have always been in between women and the real world. That your office job is not real life. Here's another depiction of that. Here's men going out to face danger and build things on the outside in order to create a safe space for women on the inside. This is how it's always been, and it still is.
Boy, white men know how to talk to their women in a condescending manner. He is talking to her like she is stupid. You know what I'm saying? This is how white people are talking to each other. This is how white men are talking to white women. I want y'all to keep listening to this gentleman explain. Look at the diagrams.
You just don't understand that because you're too comfortable. Men still do all the hard work. If all women stopped working right now, we'd be fine. If all men stopped working, everyone would die. And that is, again, because men make all the food and build all the houses and the walls, and they used to guard the border. I guess they gave up on that. Women have never done that and can't. Men still do all of the necessary things to create the space for you to have your girl bossing fun time. The way it works is that women are always really happy for men to do the hard, dangerous work until times are really good, until we build something better than this. And then you look around and you go, hey, men have more than us.
Listen to what he's saying. Listen to this.
No fair. You go to the government, which writes some laws for you, which makes you equal, and then you are disgusted by men who are equal to you.
Yeah. What he's basically saying is women complain that they didn't have the equal outcomes that men had. In other words, men had the C-suites. Men were making more money. They said often, well, you know, men make, women make what 80 cents on the dollar or 67 cents on the dollar, but that's not accounting for the fact that during the lifetime of a woman, oftentimes she does what? She gets pregnant, she takes leave. It takes her several years to come back. When she comes back, she's not going to make the money that she made when she left, so she gets a reduction. So then, you know, they say, well, you know, this man has a degree and she has a degree, but he makes $120,000 an hour and she only makes $95,000 an hour over her lifetime. But it doesn't account for the fact that women oftentimes make less money because they work less hours, because they have other responsibilities that they would prefer to do. You see? And so instead of getting equal rights, the government gave women equal outcomes with the set-asides, et cetera, which is why, now you have the current administration saying, oh no, we're going to do away with this whole thing called affirmative action, which the primary beneficiary was white women. You see, so again, I want you guys to understand this whole fight, this gender war, and I'm talking to my black folks. I don't even think this has anything to do with us. Black women, largely, you are the avatar for white women. You are their angry animal avatar, and they use you to put you out front so you can be the bad guy. You need to stop that. Stop allowing yourselves to be used. And that also goes for other women, like Latino women and other women. They're using them now. Black women have sat down. They have sat it. They have sat themselves down. Let's keep listening to this gentleman.
So without equality laws, it's very easy for women to find men they respect. And with equality laws, it's very difficult. And
so what the gentleman is saying now at this particular juncture is he is explaining how women like to marry up. Ladies, don't you like to marry up? Wouldn't you like to marry someone who is better off than you? Wouldn't you like to marry someone who makes a little more money than you, a little bit more education than you? Why would you marry somebody who has less money than you, right? That's not a come up. That's typically, women don't want that. They call that term, the term hypergamy is what it's called. In other words, you marry up. No woman grows up and says, the women grow up and say, I want to marry a shining prince, not a poor pauper, you see, because they want to marry up. But here's the thing. If you have the government artificially boosting women's opportunity and not doing anything for men, and they're fighting upstream for success, then invariably what's going to happen is men are not necessarily going to work harder to try to achieve the same. They're going to say, you know what, I'm going to chill. I'm going to stay home and play these video games. And now you got 60% of the degrees being given out going to white women or women in general. Same thing goes in the black community. And so women don't want to date those men who are less educated and earn less money. So what ends up happening? You have less viable mates. So now we are in a situation by 2030, over 50% of women are going to be childless and unmarried because you can't find suitable mates. And all of this has to do with the fact that the government is doing that. The government is fooling with stuff instead of keeping it as it used to be. And that way you got more viable men out there for women to choose from. And this is what he's explaining.
Equality laws, it's very difficult. And then everyone tells these men that they're worthless. And then
so in that particular, I found that very interesting. He's saying that this particular group of men, there's a saying that 20% of the men pretty much get all of the women. You see, that's basically what he's saying. And there's a group of men that, and I tell my sons this all the time. Most men throughout history of the world don't reproduce and don't get married because women don't see them as viable mates for whatever reason. And so because of that, and it was okay, I guess, when, we had women had to pretty much choose somebody. But now in a situation where they have the government subsidizing them with education and employment, they have if they lose their job or they become pregnant, the government is going to step in. But remember, the government tax dollars come largely from men because men pay more taxes than women, oftentimes. And so invariably, men are paying for these women anyway, except your husband and his tax dollars, instead of going into your household, ladies, it's going into some other woman's household for welfare, food stamps, etc., which has folk in the uproar. But anyway, that's that social net that saves them from the consequences of having children outside of wedlock. And when women know it will happen, what's the point of getting married? I'll be taken care of. Let's keep listening. Oops.
Don't want to be.
Let's keep listening.
Difficult. And then everyone tells these men that they're worthless. And then they go, okay, well, I don't want to be this guy, so I'll just be this guy. And then they never grow up and they never do anything. And then you hate them even more. So you're girl boss and crap.
So right then he just said there's no incentive for men to be the type of men that women want to date because you don't get the respect, you don't get the deference. And so what's the point? You know, that's what the gentleman is saying.
It's just not going to last very long because women cannot do what men do. You can't do that work of building the physical world. And what you're doing now is just...
Now, I'm going to be honest. I know that sounds sexist, but let's be honest, ladies. Do you all want to get out there and go underneath? Because I told you the jobs of it. We'll pay you $12.50 an hour to come here to Houston, Texas, and go on down in the sewer and help us refit all the pipes. And there's rats and roaches down there. We got guys that'll do it, but if you ladies want to make this $12.50 an hour, and again, I got a friend. I don't know if I can get you 15, but I can get you $14.25 an hour, and you can come on down here and help dig up these sewers and clean out these rat-infested, roach-infested sewers we got down here in Houston, Texas. Women don't want that job, do they? Let's be honest. You don't want the job being a roofer in the middle of a hot Texas summer or Arizona summer. And so, you know, let's just be honest with each other, okay? You want the C-suite, you want the equal outcomes, you want the money, but you don't want all the jobs that men take. You don't want to be offshore oil, work on an offshore oil rig, one of the most dangerous jobs. You don't want to be lumberjacks, another one of the most dangerous jobs. Let's be honest, okay? But let's keep listening.
Sort of taking it away from men and having it for yourself without giving them anything back, which makes them go away. And then, like, imagine if you had to build a house. It's not going to happen. And then when men go away, then there is...
Look at them little white fingers. Those are some... Look at his little white fingers. He is angry. You hear me? This is white men angry at white women. Okay, this is not us. Okay, they are angry with you. Let's keep listening. Go ahead, sir.
There's nothing in between you and bad stuff.
It looked like a little Vienna sausage. Look at his little white finger. Look at that finger.
So you might want to stop being so mouthy.
Oh, man. All right, look, man. I'm not going to be here all night, man. I wanted to kind of get that out the way. I've had a lot more work to do to deal with some of these broadcasts. So I wanted to make sure, but I wanted to get this in there. So look, you guys, we got 8 super chats. Man, I guess I didn't do as much as I normally do, but I'm okay with that. Thank you guys so much. I want to first acknowledge the people who came through with the Cash App. Shout out to Mr. Lawrence, and thank you, Ms. Taylor. We got 8 super chats, so this is not going to take a long time to read it through. It'd be great to get 10. That'll be a win. But 8 is great, but you know, it still ain't straight. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Shout out to Lou Harper. Thank you so much for the $9.99 super sticker. Good luck. The love the channel, sir. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Also, Blue Baggins, he says, Jesse Jackson was right about this guy. I just want to cut his nuts off. He sure did say that. Definitely said, I just want to cut his nuts off. He said that. I remember that. We was mad at him. Mad at him and Tavis Smiley. Jesse Jackson was right about this guy all those years ago when he threatened to cut Obama's balls off. This N-word, this Inja, not like us. That's true. Derek Sessions, Obama is the first African president, African-American president, not the first black president. Ain't that the truth? Shout out to 50% simp. Gotta have that balance. Amen. Shout out to Cody Marshall. He says, we got 9 super chats. Maybe we can get to 10. That's because they think heterosexual men are toxic and lack empathy. We need to continue to promote fathers that are involved in their lives. Yes, we do. Who else we got? Black Sand said, I'm homophobic because they are heterophobic. Gay people don't do anything for FBA people. Thank you so much. Current events, thanks, King. And 50% simp super sticker. All right, that was relatively quick. Maybe we can get to 10 before I finish with this this statement that I'm going to make to close this things out. Thank you all so much. I appreciate everybody for the super chats. Look, if you learned something, I should learn something. If you didn't learn something, I understand. I will work harder next time. But here's the thing, man. Foundational Black American brothers and sisters, I want you to listen to me. All right. Okay, let's own our part. We voted overwhelmingly for an African man born to a white woman to become our president. That was Barack Obama. We wrapped him in hope. Okay, we claimed him as our own. All right, we did that, didn't we? All right. Then we did it again, voting for Joe Biden and accepting his vice president, a Jamaican Irish woman named Kamala Harris. And we believe these figures had our back. But what did they actually do? Barack Obama himself, he told us during the 2008 campaign that he was not going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. And we thought he was just speaking in code, didn't we? We thought he was like back on the plantation. Oh, master, I don't know what's wrong with them. That's what you misinterpreted what his actual words for. And you fell for it. And he did exactly what he said he was going to do. Nothing. And then Kamala Harris, when asked if she pursue reparations or specific remedies for Black America, she replied, so I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. These weren't slip-ups. These were declarations of priority. Black Americans didn't get special focus. They got vague generalisms. Now contrast that with a man that many of you all hate. Let's talk about Donald Trump. From day one, this man refused to condemn the white supremacists or figures like David Duke. When asked on CNN if he would renounce such support, he evaded. I don't know anything about David Duke. You lying. I know nothing about white supremacists. This is what he said. At the 2016 debate, he told the Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. He never fully disavowed those forces. And yet he kept his pledges to his base, whether you agree or not. Donald Trump delivered on a political vision. What does that teach us? What does that say to us? Obama had the same presidential power that Donald Trump had, but he refused to act with the same conviction for foundational Black America. It wasn't the lack of power, because many of you all said it was Congress that it was against him. That wasn't it, because he could have signed all of the executive orders just like Trump did. What we have to accept that it was a lack of will. Donald Trump, love him or hate him, he delivered on promises he made to his voters. And most of you all listening to me are Black. I know you didn't vote for him, but here, the person you did vote for, Obama didn't. Barack Obama, with all the excuses of nuance and elite opinion and multicultural policy, simply chose not to prioritize foundational Black Americans. So let us be clear. Barack Obama was never and will never be fully committed to being to the well-being of Black American men, women, and children. And we should treat him accordingly. Forget the ghost of Black Jesus. Today, he's an irrelevant figure, like an old man begging outside a liquor store. He's hollow. His influence in Black America is evaporating. He's no longer untouchable. Older supporters, they still cling to the nostalgia, but the new generation don't care. As far as they're concerned, it's like him, Jay-Z, and Nas. They're just a bunch of old rappers as far as these kids are concerned. And his days as a legend in our community are done. We walked into this. We saw skin and gloss and listened to his hope-filled speeches, and we ignored the fact that he never carried our burden in policy, voice, or legacy. Meanwhile, men like Trump, they are polarizing. but at least they act with intent for their electorate. One man talks about love, the other acts, and the difference is everything. From now on, we no longer make a mistake and mistake appearance for allegiance. We will no longer elevate figureheads who don't fight for us. We will demand accountability. And if someone speaks of Black people, we expect action. Obama is no longer the Black authority. He is passé. His moral and political capital no longer holds weight in our community. It's time to recognize that skin folk are not always kinfolk. And when elites lecture us and do symbolic gestures or create nostalgia, they won't be meeting with resistance. They'll meet with the cold reality of informed skepticism. Let me make this personal. I have 3 sons. I have 3 Black boys that I'm raising to be Black men in a world that already targets them and misunderstands them and fears them. And let me be clear, I will not introduce my sons to anyone I don't trust to influence them in a way I believe is best. And that's my right as a father. And I don't care if the world applauds your lifestyle or your politics. I'm not raising my sons based on what's politically correct or socially fashionable right now. I'm raising them on what I know they will need to survive and thrive and lead in this world. And nobody's politician and nobody's celebrity, and certainly not our former president, Barack Obama, is going to override that. Whether you think alternative lifestyles are positive or not, it's irrelevant. I'm not asking for your vote. I'm their father. I make the decisions, not a disconnected ex-president whose hardest choice is whether to vacation in Martha's Vineyard or somewhere else on a billionaire retreat circuit. This is the same man who parachutes into the Black conversations every few years, just long enough to lecture us, collect a check, and disappear into a gated compound of elite applause. And here's the harsh truth. A colonizer in blackface is no different than a white supremacist in the hood. If the goal is the same, if the end result is the erosion of our values, the confusion of our children, and the undermining of our traditions, then it doesn't matter what color the messenger is. It's the message that's toxic. Let me ask y'all something. Where will we end up if we follow Barack Obama's advice? What's the end game? The question isn't whether or not we might have a gay or binary or trans son. That's not the issue. And if you did have a son like that, you should love them nonetheless. I'm not here to disparage gay people, because most Black folk have gay people in their family, whether they be lesbian or gay. You work with gay people. You have friends who are gay. You have acquaintances who are gay. You went to school gay. Many of us had gay professors. I know I had a gay law school professor. He was very gay. he was lisp gay. You understand me? But again, that's not the real question. Okay? The real question is, what if we don't? What if we have sons who are unapologetically strictly heterosexual and want to grow up into strong, responsible, heterosexual Black men who want to be family men and fathers? Why are we being encouraged to surround them with influences that contradict that path? Huh? Why? Why would we do that to our sons? The majority of men are heterosexual men anyway. Look, we all know the saying, you are who you hang around. We teach our children this from the moment they can understand. So why is it that this basic principle is suddenly off limits in this particular conversation that Barack Obama had with Mrs. Obama? Why are we told to suspend that wisdom when it comes to this one particular group? Listen, I am not advocating for hate. I got black clients who are gay. I got white clients who are gay. I'm just saying, I'm not promoting any sort of exclusion or discrimination, but I have the right to guide my sons. I have the right to choose who they're around. I have the right to set their course. And that's not hate. That's parenting. That's protection. That's love in its highest form. Respecting someone's lifestyle does not mean I need to elevate it as a model for my children. It doesn't mean I have to pretend every road leads to the same destination. And it definitely doesn't mean I let Barack Obama or any of these ideological tourists decide what masculinity looks like in my house. And we're not obligated to let our sons be social experiments in someone else's political project. We're not required to soften our values just to be seen as tolerant. We're not going to apologize for defending traditional Black fatherhood and family structure. We're reclaiming the right to raise our children on our own terms. And that's not just a constitutional right, that's a spiritual one. That's a God-given right, according to my Bible. And to anyone who has a problem with that, I offer you the same advice I'd give Obama, respectfully. Sit this one out. Don't speak for us. At least don't speak for us anymore. This is Uncle D. I love you all. Big shout out to the Crimson Sun and shout out to all my sons. God bless you, boys. I know you may or may not be listening to me. And shout out to all the parents, all the people out there, man. I love you. I appreciate you. I look forward to reading the comments. Thanks to everybody who contributed to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. And this is Uncle D with my little pink flower, and I'm out.
Dennis Spurling.
In the city where the lights don't sleep, Uncle D got the vibe so deep. Representing men strong and free. Dennis Spurling's the king of the spree. In the streets where the rhythm flows, black men rising, that's how it goes. Uncle D got the truth to show. In his heart, that's where the fire glows. Late night tuning, light up the stream. Dennis Spurling, wisdom gleam. Voices whisper truth and insight. In his podcast, feel the light. Harmony in every word. Truth and laughter you've heard. That's all right. Wave after wave of smooth delight. Dennis brings the dark to light. That's the blistering, baby. Share the tales unfold. The stories born like morning gold. Feeling the wisdom inside. Subscribing like time after time.
Black men, black men, black men. I want to salute you. Your incarceration rate is down. The education rate is up. We up. We went from, we are doing great for ourselves. So you should salute yourself. Shout out to all the brothers out there, whether you're a truck driver or engineer, whether you're an electrician or garbage man, a doctor, a lawyer, if you a hard-working brother, if you fresh out the penitentiary, but you on your grind and you doing it legal and you trying to make amends for yourself, man, I salute you too, brothers. God bless you. This is Uncle D, and you know, I'm out.